Yo, it's Tuesday, August 2nd, the second day of August. We have some interesting stuff to talk about today. GM wrote a letter to dealers. We'll talk through it. Service and parts growth and CPG companies testing the waters of consumers. Oh, yes. And CPG, by the way, stands for Consumer Packaged Goods.
You're so
Consumer
fancy.
Packaged Goods.
You're so
You know,
fancy using
when
them acronyms.
When I first started doing some work with VaynerMedia, and I went in, I didn't know crap about crap. When it came to marketing, I just had a good feel for brand, and they were using all these things, and I was like, is there all these terms? I said, is there any book or something that has all of these in there?
Said every new entrant to auto as well.
Right, absolutely. It's the right.
They're like, you got to put the VIP on the VDP with the SRP tracking GA results in GTM. And everyone was like, all of what I just said doesn't make sense. So even if you thought you knew what I was talking about,
all the fact checkers out there are like, I don't think Kyle knows anything about marketing tech. He's been posing this whole dang time. Oh man, so many good things happening. We just came off of an early morning podcast interview with Auto Lead Star, who is housed or home based in Israel. So it was fun to like have a conversation with someone who's at the end of their day.
No, they're in the future.
If only we would have talked to them 2 days ago, we could have got that lottery ticket number, that 1.2 billion. We did, we had a conversation yesterday for the Auto Collabs podcast with Steve Greenfield, and I have to say it was probably one of my favorite interviews ever. I will put that up there. And I've interviewed a lot of people,
without a doubt,
and there was something so fulfilling about the conversation. Number one, I didn't know his origin story. You're gonna have to listen to Auto Collabs to get
it. You have to listen to Auto
absolutely.
Drop it.
It's gonna release this week. If you go to Auto Collabs, COLLABS.com, it'll link you up to all your platforms, or you can just search it on Spotify or iTunes. And we talked about Steve Greenfield's origin story.
Like just to toss this out there. Steve Greenfield.
Here come the spoilers. Right.
Steve Greenfield was the originator of the pyramid scheme in auto. Just like, I'm going to throw that out.
Oh man, that's going to make some good content right there. And so you have to listen to it. Not only is it fun to listen to his origin story, but he is one of the most insightful people and the most thoughtful people that when it comes to what is over the horizon. His Automotive Ventures Auto Intel report is outstanding. It dropped this morning. You can get it at automotiveventures.com. Not sponsored at all. Just we really want more people to read it because it's good for everybody. And so we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, just had me, that podcast, this one. I'm just so excited that we're getting to talk to all of these people like rapid fire because ASOTU is coming up. And a lot of these people are going to be at ASOTU in person. And it's just spurring on this level of conversation. I've literally never had this many conversations around automotive. And that might be hard to believe ever at this velocity in my life.
It's super fun because as you have, and this is what I love about what we're doing with ASOTU, as you have conversations and people ask questions, being okay, like having, here's the ground stuff. This is the stuff that I fully believe in and that I know and that I've decided on. But then there are things that even as we have conversations, we're like, that's a recontextualization of that we might need to consider. And so like all of these podcasts, all these conversations, the texts, the conversations is like, hey, there's a new consideration. Yeah, we probably need to bring that into the fold. Oh, there's a new way to look at that. And it's been encouraging to me to just like personally, just literally personally, not even as an ASOTU partner, is just, hey, I'm having just these reinvigorated thoughts around how we encourage and energize the entire industry.
Absolutely. And the momentum is building. If you don't have tickets and you can be there, ASOTUcon.com. We have a lot of links these days. ASOTUcon.com. We still have tickets left. We hope you will join us September 11th through the 13th. And even if you can't attend the whole conference, even if you just work at a dealership and you're not like manager level where they'll send you to a conference, we're doing a Monday night event that is free for anyone in automotive. It's going to have entertainment and a band. And if you work at a dealership, we're letting you in for free. So if you want to drive in, fly in, walk in, however you want to get there, you'll be our guest for the night as the whole industry gets to do something together, regardless of whether or not you can pay or get the time off to go to the conference. Let's get into some news.
Let's get into the show. And there's We'll just say that there are some ruffled feathers around the automotive industry right now.
That'd be funny if you could walk around the industry and you could have a visual identification of who has their feathers ruffled, right? They're just like some ruffled feathers because they'd be everywhere.
They'd be literally everywhere. So GM last Friday actually sent a notice to all of their dealers that in just a couple of days, they'd be receiving more post-sale guidelines that they're going to have to pass on to consumers. And there was a little bit of question on exactly what those post-sale guidelines were going to be in a letter to all of those GM dealers. The company stated that.
Can I just say something? I've always wanted to say this. ASOTU has obtained a copy of the letter. Okay, I just always wanted to say that.
So essentially, what originally came out was just, hey, there are going to be barring and limiting on certain warranties and changing the ability for people to sell vehicles post sale from the originating dealer, and that what they're trying to do here, that in their words, these changes are being implemented to ensure an exemplary customer experience, to ensure our brands remain strong, and to help prioritize ownership by brand enthusiasts and loyal customers. These changes would not impact product recalls in any way. So the products that are being impacted by changes that we just found out yesterday, exactly what those changes are the 23-year Cadillac Escalade V, the Chevy Corvette Z06, and the GMC Hummer EV, both the SUT and the SUV. So what came out yesterday and what we just shown on the screen, and we can throw it up again, is the note that on these particular vehicles, these three model lines, that if a vehicle is resold in the very first year, now this is not to the dealers, this is to the actual customer. If the vehicle is sold in the first year, they would not be eligible in the future to place reservations on models that come out. So now you're barred from ever doing that again with the brand. The vehicle will be stripped of its bumper to bumper warranty, not including the battery warranties, but including everything else.
So the battery stays included.
So the battery stays included, but everything else is not included. Why? Really interesting. And then the last,
because they want the battery back,
is that a lot of consumer rewards are wrapped into some of these vehicles, and so up to $5,000 in like rewards points would also be stripped of your GM account. So it's like, hey, look, these are special products. You should hang on to this thing. But if for some reason you don't, we're going to penalize the heck out of you.
It is a tricky place to be for GM and for dealers, because they're trying to keep the products accessible, because nobody likes it when there's a product that's supposed to be available to everyone, and then just people with deep pockets come in and monopolize the inventory, right? And GM is looking at that, be like, that is bad for the brand. We want someone to own this car who wants to own the car, not someone who is actually just looking to flip for a profit, really just changing the whole demographic of who can even get in the car and who it's intended for. So a very unconventional and first ever move by a manufacturer to limit resale of a vehicle. And then they put the dealer in the position where they need to do it. But my hunch is that anyone who actually wants the vehicle and is actually excited about the vehicle is going to have no problem signing that document. If anything,
but here's the problem. So yes, I agree. If you actually
there's more than one
vehicle, but the major problem for me here is this, right? That I go buy a Z06 and have 0 kids in the house, right? And then all of the sudden, my family gets pregnant.
It's a hypothetical. This is fully hypothetical example.
But there's like a number of reasons why you would need to change your trajectory, change any life event, right? Change your job, change your family, anything like that. And all of a sudden, 9 months into that vehicle ownership, you've got to get rid of that car to get into another vehicle. Now, what is going to happen, because you've had a life event, you're now bound in captivity by the fact that that GM was trying to manage profitability and manage brand. And now you can't actually pass on the warranty to the next person without waiting another you know, however long that timeline is.
I have a fix for that problem.
Go.
Just put a salary cap on that sucker. You can't sell for more than you paid for it. Easy.
There it is.
Or a percentage over, right? You can't sell it for more than like, say, 8% over, because maybe the value goes up a little bit, but whatever's going to offset the sales tax in the states that have it. Like, GM, are you listening? You should do that right now, actually, because
Really
that'll
smart.
fix Kyle's problem that he presented. All right. What other problems? What other problems? Well, no, but that's real. It's so odd to you. Don't. What else do you buy with handcuffs? Nothing. I can't think of a single thing.
Nothing.
I can't think of a single thing.
Actually,
I think
this is what's crazy. People make livings all over the place. I mean, this is what eBay is for. Buying cheap, selling high, right?
No, Kyle, that's what NFTs are for.
That's what NFTs are for. That's what the market does, is you try and buy cheap, sell high.
Market demand.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting, like a hardship. And who wants to have to apply for like some kind of hardship exemption? Like, you feel like a doof. And so for dealers, I think just like any situation that is complex to communicate about, I do think this presents dealers with an option to increase the depth of their relationship with their customers. Yes. Every time something is challenging, guess what? If you lean in and lead with empathy, listen, communicate well, I think you're on the winning side of it. And I think, you know, the vehicles that were mentioned, you're going to have, aside from the people that are just in it to flip it, the people that are actually in it to drive it, I think it'll actually a pretty smooth conversation, and if anything else, it'll get some conversation going in some way.
And some people might even appreciate it, right? Because they want the vehicle value to stay high and the brand to stay strong and all of those things that, like, if they're owning the vehicle, they want the same thing that the brand wants out of that vehicle ownership experience. Yep. Speaking of ownership experience,
stop. Segue. Time.
I didn't even know that was coming. That just hit me right in the face. And I was like, yes, here we go. So reports are coming out that service and parts growth is happening. I mean, we know that this is happening because of like people traveling more and things like that, but that vehicle age creeping up due to inability to trade out of vehicles and find new vehicles is an important factor to the parts and service growth.
And affordability. Right.
And affordability matrix. So people are trying to keep their cars on the road longer. Actually, I was talking to a dealer just this weekend that their Toyota store, or no, sorry, their Nissan store, that is a like pretty large store. I think they have like somewhere in like 13 to 15 bay range. Like it's no joke, nothing to not write home about. And they are out 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Dang.
It's you know Jason at Newton, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
6 weeks on their service bays, right? Like you can't schedule to get your Nissan service for 6 weeks.
Wow.
So according to digital marketing agency Hedges and Company, the average age of new cars in the US will reach 12.3 years in 2023. Which is a significant increase over when vehicles have mostly been in that like 10 to 12 year range as far as the average age of vehicles on the road. So groups are seeing a ton of increase in service and parts revenue. People are keeping vehicles, which means the older vehicles get, the more work they need to get done. They're out of warranty, and people are starting to travel again, which means demand on the service side is also higher
than ever.
Yeah.
You've heard of Group One, right? Houston-based Group One Auto, one of the 6 publics. They've actually seen service and parts sales up 14.5% year over year. And you're like, okay, well, that's same store numbers. But here's the kicker for me. They're up 8.5% from 2019, like pre-pandemic levels, showing a major jump. This is more than just rebound traffic. And so they're actually shifting their parts and schedule services back to a 4-day work week model. Before the pandemic, we were hearing so much across HR conversations and service efficiency conversations about this 4-day work week where techs work 410s. And what that actually does is frees up more capacity. You can add shifts because now you only have people in the store for 4. It really is about body count and bay count. And so they're shifting back to 4-day work weeks. They're opening up more shifts, which means more bay space. And also they said it's opening up broader service hours, which makes consumers happy. So like they're responding to the service. And what I love about this whole movement, service is something that is dealers can control.
Yes. That is a control the controllables without a doubt. Just back to Steve Greenfield yesterday and the conversation.
All roads lead back to Steve Greenfield.
All roads lead back. Is him and his dealer fund is looking particularly for companies that are working on hiring, retaining, training, and creating efficiencies within the service department. So top dealers in the country are saying, like, we need help with this. This is a reality. This is going to be a reality long into the future. And especially in any level of direct to consumer model, this is the control your controllables. Like, this is actually what, like, of everything that Jim Farley is saying, he's saying we can't handle the service side of things.
Yes.
That is absolutely necessary to have dealers in. So understanding how to hire, retain, train, and create efficiencies in the service and parts department, in my opinion, is like top of the list, because that also speaks to customer life cycle and brand build and
everything. It drives everything. And it doesn't take, like, if you're going to go and like do the work to shift schedules and it's different. Yes. But everybody seems happy with it. The employees are happy with it. The consumers are happy with it. The P&L is happy with it. So why would you not do a little bit of work to see if you can squeeze some or restructure to do that? And also, it doesn't require any additional capital investment. Right? You don't need to build a new building, buy a bunch of new equipment. It's like, with the stuff you have, with the space you have, with the equipment you have, this is how you can squeeze more out of that orange. Last story here. We only have a couple minutes left. CPG companies, remember, what does it stand for? Consumer Packaged Goods. Very good. Very good. They're taking a blended approach of offering smaller sizes and also premium upgrades to existing products because behaviors are changing. Many brands like Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Pepsi, Hellmann's, they're paying attention to what shopping behaviors are doing, because we're not in a recession, but they're like, what is the behavior going to do if we do go into a deep recession? What is it going to happen? Like, how are people responding? And so they're saying consumers are buying less because they're using up stashes that they had from the pandemic, and they're not restocking them. They also are paying attention to, I thought this was super savvy, some words that people are searching, like bar soap, right? Bar soap is cheaper technically or typically than like a body wash. So Dove has introduced smaller sizes of its product, and literally in the name of the product is now, it says more moisturizing than bar soap. So when people search it, they'll actually get the name of the product. I mean, and the flip side of this is the fact that people who are now saying no to spa appointments, no to facials and things like that, are willing to splurge on some more premium products. So they're starting to up the premium products as well. So it's like this weird dichotomy of like smaller sizes of existing products and more premium products on the market, to what they call, get this, the lipstick effect. Meaning, when you don't have time or money for what would be considered luxuries in life, you're willing to spend a little bit of money on some simple pleasures like lipstick, chocolate, things like that. So talk about consumer mindset shifting and like what consumer goods servicers are doing. Like, what does this tell you about the consumer, right? It tells you that they're approaching the approach angle. That's something we've been saying lately. The approach angle is a little bit different, right? So there's no one approach.
There is like so much.
Golly, I know. We have to go into another podcast right now, and Michael Cirillo's waiting for us at this point at 9:01 a.m. when we're recording this. But we have to come back to this story. I think
you got to come back to that because there's so many dynamics in like how you approach the consumer and how you recognize like trends in other industries that impact the way that you market your industry, right? Like just recognizing that this industry is doing X means you should be potentially doing Y, because consumers are people keep saying like, find Google Trends and understand the way consumers are shopping and listening and asking questions, and then answer those questions in your industry, because your industry is relatable within within all of the ecosystem of their purchasing decisions.
I think I'm just going to cue the music there, because that's a great spot to end. Look, read the show notes. We put links to all the articles inside those. If you haven't gotten ASOTUCon tickets, get those. And we're releasing more episodes of the Auto Collabs podcast this week.